Hello. In this movie, I'm going to tell you a little bit about sentence fragments. These are a type of incomplete sentence that are very easy to make by accident. So let's look at a little more. Sentence fragments. Subordinating what? Sentence fragments are sentences that are incomplete because they begin with a subordinating conjunction. I think this is where it can get tricky for people because you've probably been taught that a complete sentence is complete when it has a subject, a verb, and possibly an object. Sentence fragments have these features, so why aren't they complete? The answer is just because they have the subordinating conjunction at the front of the clause, here highlighted in red. So I'm going to give you a few different rules. Each of these is really the same thing, said in a different way. But a clause beginning with a subordinating conjunction cannot stand on its own as a sentence. Therefore, to form a complete sentence, clauses beginning with subordinating conjunctions need a separate independent clause. Said differently, once again, a subordinate or dependent clause without an independent clause is a sentence fragment. The subordinate clause depends on its independent clause. The dependent clause depends on its independent clause. Here's an example. When it was cold outside, as I said before, it's the subordinate clause at the beginning of the clause, the subordinate conjunction at the beginning of the clause here, that is causing the problem. Without the subordinating conjunction, it's fine. It's not a very interesting sentence. So to make it more interesting, more detailed, I need to add that independent clause to complete the sentence to fulfill the requirement set by the subordinating conjunction, excuse me. You can also put the independent clause before, in front of the subordinate conjunction. So here's an example. Again, I'd recommend pausing the video and thinking about what I just did in the previous slide, in the previous example. Think about 3 different ways you could change this sentence to make it complete. So hopefully you've paused. Here are 3 possible solutions. In this case, I added another clause. We would be warm. You might have probably chose something else, but the point is to add another clause, to add an independent clause. Same thing, different position. I'm going to go through a few more examples now. With each one, I recommend pausing the video, trying to write down 3 solutions like what I just did. And here we go with some answers. I'm going to go through a few different examples here. One more example. Pause. Solutions. One more example. So pause, think. Hopefully you've unpaused. In this example, I actually added 2 subordinate clauses. And that's something to keep in mind. You can technically just keep adding subordinate clauses onto independent clauses, and that can give you some long, complicated sentences. So thinking ahead, the goal should be to learn how to write not just complete sentences, but how to use multiple subordinate clauses in one sentence. Because there are so many subordinating conjunctions, it's good to just remember as many of them as you can. That way, if you use one, you know you need to complete the sentence by adding a separate clause. Hope that was helpful, and I'll see you later.